What is the relationship, Billy, between the Dracos that I keep hearing about and the Palladians? What are their relationship like?
So these Dracos seem to be a group of beings that are a very, very warring race that are always trying to take over and dominate. They
Mm,
want, some of these people, and I call them people, whether they're Dracos or whatever, because they're all still sentient beings. They want to dominate everything. They want everything. They want to be worshipped. They want to take over planets. They want to take over constellations, star systems, whatever it is. They want to take it over and they want to dominate it. And they go to war a lot. They're heavily, heavily, heavily into war. It's almost like the Klingons from Star Trek. It's like a race of beings that got to the space level,
mm,
which is crazy that you can get to that level by being a race of warriors, which is what they are. And they want to dominate everything. And they created a lot of wars in the ancient past. If you look at the Ubaid culture, pre-Anunnaki, Ubaid, Ubaid, they landed on this planet long before the people we know as Anunnaki got here, even though they would be considered an Anunnaki too, because they're just, they got here before. I'm separating them now because the Ubaid culture got here before the ones that we knew turned us into slaves.
right, right.
But the Ubaid culture lived here. The structures that they lived in were discovered, dilapidated and worn down from weathering and age, but they're still there. There's even some images available that you can download from the historical sites. They found all of these statuettes, these Ubaid statuettes. These people looked reptilian. So some of these reptilian people came to this planet long before the Sumerian version that we used, and the Netiru from Africa that we call the Anunnaki. These people came here very, very first, a very long time ago, and set up kingdoms on this planet. So they even had their mark here for a time. People that look like reptiles. There's some that are breastfeeding babies, and they stood upright, just like a bilateral, bipedal hominid, just like we are, breastfeeding babies. Some had different types of clothing, kind of leading us to understand that they were in like a monarchical type society. Some had staffs and long loincloths, which means they were probably priests or kings of some type. And then we had ones that had very short cloths, and then we had the ones that were naked. The naked ones were probably the poverty or the poor ones. So they still had some type of hierarchy or level that existed within their own species, but they were definitely here. There's no doubt about it.
Do you think the people that are in power, do you think they're shapeshifters, Billy?
That's a good question.
We
Shapeshifters,
hear David Icke talk about that a lot.
yeah, I've been looking into shapeshifters for just recently over the last like maybe 2 months because I've been watching this show called Resident Alien on Netflix, and he's a shapeshifter. He can take the form of a human being, right, or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, the way that they laid it out was pretty interesting because I heard about shapeshifters and anything is possible within the universe, but when I started looking deeper into the possibility of an entity or a being a shapeshifter, and I started looking into biology, I started noticing that the possibility biologically of it, based on what I see with octopus and squid,
Mm,
total possibility that some of
mm,
these beings have that type of biology. And what's crazy is in this show, this shape-shifting alien is directly related to octopus.
mm.
So I was like, wow, this is crazy. They directly related. It's almost like edutainment in a way. And so the more I looked into like how octopus and squid are able to mutate and transform, I started thinking, wow, take this to another level and put it into a slightly more advanced, more evolved being. All of a sudden, you can have a shapeshifter on your hand, somebody that can merge in with their surroundings and take on the shape or the look, appearance of anyone.
Mhm.
And it's pretty amazing. I think it exists. I think if you can begin to see and think that it exists based off of some logic and some science, I think it's real.
I don't know if you ever did this, Billy, and I don't know if it's like an optical illusion, but it's some scary shit, Billy. When you're staring in the mirror, and it looks like you're shapeshifted. Sometime if you like stare in the mirror for let's say 2 minutes nonstop,
Yeah.
you don't blink your eyes, the shit it starts to look scary, Billy. You ever did that before?
Yeah, if you look in a particular angle and kind of let your eyes relax and just keep a straight glare,
Yeah,
you begin to morph a little bit.
yeah,
You begin to change. It looks like you're moving or changing or
yeah.
slightly off shifted, like your light pattern's a little bit different. That could just be the way that the eyes are taking in the light, or it could be the fact that, you know, we all exist as waves of light. Human beings are not even solid beings. We have the illusion of solidity. If you look into quantum physics, you discover that we are all particles of light. We're light waves that collapse into particles, I should say. And so what's collapsing us into particles? Conscious observation. So maybe it could be that when we slightly become staring at our stuff and off into that slight glare with our eyes more relaxed, maybe we're seeing part of that wave particle duality that exists. In quantum physics, there's something called wave particle duality, and physics.org took the very, very first image of a light wave as it was shifting back into a particle about 4.5, 5 years ago. I talked about it in one of my lectures, and I provided the physics.org article, which is a peer-reviewed science article. It's actually in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, as well. So for the camera to be able to see a light wave shifting back into solid matter, it's quite possible, you know, maybe we have the same ability under the right conditions.
By Compendium of the Emerald Tablets by Billy Carson.